The Illinois Policy Institute has released an alternative, and here it is, to Governor Quinn's proposed budget that does not raise taxes.
Some good reading in there. The alternative budget cuts, pension funding, and other government costs. John O'Hara from the Illinois Policy Institute joins us this morning with the plan. Before we talk about the specific cuts you guys are proposing, we want to make clear this does not increase income taxes at all. And why does this plan work over the governor's plan, do you think?
You know, our guiding philosophy with this plan is the government shouldn't be spending more than it takes in. So when you start with that premise, which is what Illinois families do, they say, this is our budget, here's our mortgage payment, here's the car payment, here's the maybe what we're putting aside for education, and you go from there. Whereas the governor says, you know, this is what we want to do, and here's the gap, and we need to make up that with more income and raising taxes.
But in fairness, doesn't yours also call for short-term borrowing?
No, it doesn't. No borrowing, no tax hikes.
Okay, let's talk about specifically what it does, and that is spending realignments. How so?
Well, going with the philosophy that you work with what you have, and particularly in tough economic times, we don't think that the right thing to do is to raise taxes on hardworking Illinois families. So what we've done is we say $27 billion roughly is what we have to spend. What is the best allocation of those taxpayer dollars? How can we preserve core government services without making draconian cuts and without raising taxes on Illinois families?
One of those things you say we should do is right-size government labor costs. How would you do that?
Well, one of the things is that government employees in Illinois actually make, on average, over 15% more than folks in the private sector, and that's a major issue. Between that and pension costs, which are a problem, which we put a proposal out a month or so ago about fixing that, are crowding out core government services.
You say you can do this without draconian cuts, and meanwhile we're hearing from the CEO of the school system talking about class sizes, maybe 37 kids in there because they don't have the funding coming in from the state government that they're supposed to be getting. They're talking about getting rid of full-day kindergarten. Magnet schools would be affected. They're talking about no varsity or no football program at all. Can you do that without making those problems occur in the school level?
It's a great question. You know, one of the things that Governor Quinn did was he said, you know, we're going to cut it. We either have to cut education or raise taxes, and it's a false option. You know, I really question any executive whose first cut is the classroom, that there isn't stuff in there. And you'll see in our budget we cut things like principal mentorship, where a principal goes around from school to school and mentors. You know, maybe we cut things like that so that we can put more money into the classroom and into the frontline education.
How much were you able to save with your idea? I mean, we were talking about a $13 billion hole pretty much, right? I mean, how much in your budget, through the different approach, were you able to
about
make
$3
up?
billion more, about $3 billion compared to
$3 billion more. So you're still 10 short?
We in the short term, we don't address the $6 billion debt that the state has. But in the long term, the first step is getting spending under control and then gradually paying that off.
Okay. Well, John O'Hara, we certainly appreciate you joining us this morning. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.